Valley don't get along is a...
Come on! This isn't my body! Get these feathers off!
You nutcake!
By the great waterfall.
Ouch. Oh, please, I'm short.
Gonna die!
Trust me, Ollie!
Or trust any other creature.
The wolves.
I'm gonna be their lunch!
What if one unexpected swap changed everything? A life turned upside down, shocking secrets revealed, and choices that could never be undone. Today on ReelSignal Studio, we're diving deep into the movie Swapida, exploring its full story, hidden facts, behind-the-scenes details, and the moments that left audiences surprised. Stay till the end because some facts about this movie might completely change the way you see it. Swap is a 2026 American animated fantasy adventure comedy movie directed by Nathan Greeno. The screenplay was written by John Whittington, Christian Magal, and Robert Snow. The story was created by Nathan Greeno, Adam Karp, John Whittington, Christian Magal, and Robert Snow. The film was produced by Skydance Animation and features voice performances from Michael B. Jordan, Juno Temple, Tracy Morgan, Cedric the Entertainer, and Justina Machado. The story centers on a small creature called a puku named Ollie, voiced by Michael B. Jordan, and a Javan named Ivy, voiced by Juno Temple. Their lives suddenly change when a magical accident causes them to switch species. After finding themselves trapped in each other's bodies, Ollie and Ivy must learn how to live as someone completely different from themselves. As they struggle to adapt to their new situations, they are forced to work together and rely on one another. During their journey, they face many exciting challenges, unexpected dangers, and fun adventures while trying to find a way to return to their normal lives. Swapped was released in select theaters and on Netflix on May 1, 2026. The movie received mixed to positive reviews from critics, with many praising its animation, humor, and creative story. Despite the varied critical response, the film quickly became a major success on Netflix. During its first week on the streaming platform, it attracted around 38 million views, making it one of the most watched titles at the time. The movie also took over the top viewing position that had previously been held by Pop Demon Hunters, which had been one of Netflix's biggest hits during the 2025-2026 period. Swapped is a 2026 American animated fantasy adventure comedy film directed by Nathan Greeno. The script was written by John Whittington, Christian Magal, and Robert Snow, while the story was developed by Greeno alongside Adam Karp and the writing team. Produced by Skydance Animation, the movie features an impressive voice cast that includes Michael B. Jordan, Juno Temple, Tracy Morgan, Cedric the Entertainer, and Justina Machado. The film follows Ollie, a tiny puku voiced by Michael B. Jordan, and Ivy, a Javan voiced by Juno Temple. Their ordinary lives are turned upside down when a mysterious magical event causes them to exchange species. Suddenly forced to live in unfamiliar bodies, both characters must adjust to completely new ways of life. As they struggle to understand each other's worlds, Ollie and Ivy form an unexpected partnership. Together, they embark on a thrilling journey filled with obstacles, surprising discoveries, and exciting adventures as they search for a way to undo the transformation and return to their true selves. Swapped premiered in select theaters and debuted on Netflix on May 1, 2026. The movie earned mixed to positive reactions from critics, with many highlighting its colorful animation, entertaining humor, and imaginative concept. Even though reviews were varied, the film proved to be a massive hit among audiences. In its first week on Netflix, it generated approximately 38 million views, becoming one of the platform's most popular releases. It also claimed the #1 position previously held by Pop Demon Hunters, another highly successful Netflix title that dominated viewing charts throughout the 2025-2026 period. Michael B. Jordan delivers a standout vocal performance as Ollie, the small woodland creature known as a puku in Swapped, 2026. Ollie is depicted as a tiny, resourceful, and somewhat timid puku who belongs to a community that lives by the rule of hiding to survive. His character arc drives much of the film's body swap comedy and adventure, forcing him to adapt to life as a majestic Javon bird while confronting deep-seated fears and prejudices between species in the valley. Jordan, known primarily for his intense dramatic roles in live-action films like the Creed series and Black Panther, brings surprising warmth, mischief, and vulnerability to this animated role. His voice work captures Ollie's youthful pluck, initial reluctance, and eventual growth into a more empathetic and courageous figure. Reviewers have noted how Jordan's delivery adds an all-American pluck to the character, making Ollie relatable even as a fictional rodent-like creature. The performance allows audiences to connect with themes of perspective-taking and overcoming differences, as Ollie learns to navigate flight, heightened senses, and the social dynamics of the Javans. Jordan's casting was a strategic choice for Netflix and Skydance Animation to appeal to a broad family audience while leveraging his star power. His involvement marks one of his notable forays into voice acting for animation, expanding his range beyond high-stakes action and drama. In recording sessions, clips show Jordan fully immersing himself, bringing energy and nuance that elevate the buddy comedy elements. Ollie's journey from a small creature afraid of predators to someone who bridges divides mirrors Jordan's own career trajectory of taking on transformative roles that challenge stereotypes. The physicality of voicing Ollie required Jordan to convey a wide range of emotions through sound alone, fear during escapes, wonder at new abilities like flying, in one exhilarating sequence, and frustration in the early bickering with Ivy. Critics praised how his voice work deepens once the squabbling subsides, allowing for more emotional layers in the latter half of the film. Jordan's Ollie is mischievous yet sincere, embodying the smallest creature in the valley who upends expectations. Expanding on Jordan's fit for the role, his history with underdog stories shines through. From Fruitvale Station to Creed, he excels at portraying characters who grow through adversity. In Swapped, this translates to Ollie's ecological and personal awakening. The body swap forces Ollie, in Ivy's body, to experience life from a predator's viewpoint, highlighting themes of empathy and environmental harmony. Jordan's smooth, expressive baritone adds charm to the Puku's antics, whether scavenging piplets or teaming up against threats like the firewolf. Jordan's preparation likely involved studying animal movements and vocal inflections to authentically portray a creature that resembles a mix of otter, chipmunk, or sloth-like being. His chemistry with Juno Temple in the booth is palpable in released footage, creating a believable dynamic that carries the film's emotional core. This pairing brings star power and vocal talent that makes the Freaky Friday-style premise feel fresh in an animated wilderness setting. Throughout the film, Ollie's voice evolves from hesitant and survival-focused to bold and collaborative. Jordan handles comedic timing flawlessly in scenes with Tracy Morgan's Boogle, delivering lines with perfect deadpan or enthusiastic flair. His performance contributes significantly to the PG-rated blend of action, peril, and heart, making Ollie a memorable animated protagonist. Jordan's broader career context enriches his casting. As a producer and actor with crossover appeal, he brings authenticity and marketability. In interviews tied to the film, discussions around his role emphasize breaking boundaries in family entertainment. His voice as Ollie resonates with younger audiences while offering depth for adults, balancing humor with subtle messages about understanding the other. Juno Temple as Ivy. Voice: Juno Temple voices Ivy, the majestic Javon bird who swaps bodies with Ollie. Ivy is a regal, bright green bird resembling a cross between a kakapo and secretary bird, part of a trio of sisters. As the eldest, she carries responsibilities after her parents' passing, raising Violet and Lily while navigating competitive family dynamics and species rivalries. Her character starts with a bossy, anxious edge but grows through the swap experience. Temple, a versatile British actress known for roles in Ted Lasso, The Offer, and various independent films, infuses Ivy with British scolding elegance mixed with vulnerability. Her vocal performance contrasts beautifully with Jordan's, creating the spark for their initial bickering and eventual partnership. Critics highlight how Temple's voice work allows the character to deepen once the duo stops quarreling, adding layers of empathy and strength. Ivy's arc involves adapting to life as a small puku, learning stealth and ground-level survival while grappling with her protective instincts. Temple's expressive delivery captures Ivy's competitiveness, familial duties, and the wonder of seeing the world from a prey's perspective. The swap forces her to confront prejudices, much like Ollie, fostering mutual understanding in their adventure. Temple's casting adds international flair and dramatic credibility. Her experience with quirky, strong-willed characters suits Ivy's personality perfectly. In booth sessions, her chemistry with Jordan and the supporting cast shines, contributing to the film's humorous and heartfelt moments. Temple brings a fabulous yet anxious quality to Ivy, making her a compelling deuteragonist. Her performance excels in action sequences, conveying panic, determination, and joy such as when Ollie, in Ivy's body, experiences flight. Temple's nuanced intonation helps sell the ecological parable aspects, where rival animal groups learn collaboration for survival. Ivy's British accent among the Javans adds distinctive flavor to the Valley's world-building. Temple's career trajectory from child actor to acclaimed performer mirrors Ivy's growth from a somewhat rigid guardian to a more open-minded adventurer. Her voice acting showcases range, from scolding elegance to playful vulnerability, enhancing the body swap comedy. The dynamic with her on-screen sisters, voiced by Ambika Mad and Lolly Adphobe, feels authentic, complicated by family history. Tracy Morgan as Boogle, Firewolf, voice. Tracy Morgan provides scene-stealing energy as Boogle, a grouper-like fish, who harbors a surprising twist as the Firewolf. Morgan's comedic timing and larger-than-life persona make Boogle a highlight, delivering playful, humorous lines that keep the momentum going. The reveal and dual role showcase Morgan's range, blending lovable goofiness with more intense antagonist moments. Morgan, celebrated for 30 Rock, The Last OG, and Stand Up, brings his signature chaotic charm to animation. Boogle joins Ollie and Ivy as a third helper, adding comic relief and depth. His performance is frequently cited as one of the film's strengths, with reviewers noting how he steals scenes with committed, entertaining delivery. The Firewolf twist adds intrigue, transforming the helpful fish into a wrathful figure. Morgan handles both sides masterfully, making the character memorable. Clips from recording sessions show his infectious energy, pairing well with Jordan and Temple. Morgan's casting injects star power and humor suited to family animation. His voice elevates supporting moments, contributing to the adventure's wildness and emotional beats. The duality allows exploration of deception, hurt, and redemption themes. Cedric the Entertainer as Kalu, voice. Cedric the Entertainer voices Kalu, often positioned as a protective father figure or community leader among the Pukus, likely Ollie's dad. His warm, comedic delivery brings laughs and heart, emphasizing connection and understanding. Cedric's unmistakable timing adds personality to Kalu, who learns to see life differently through the events. As a comedy legend from the original Kings of Comedy and films like Barbershop, Cedric fits seamlessly. His role supports the family and community themes, motivating others and providing guidance. He described the story as wonderful for showing perspective shifts and leadership. Cedric's voice work adds cultural resonance and humor, balancing the main duo's journey with grounded wisdom and laughs. His performance enhances the ensemble, making Kalu a relatable anchor. Justina Machado as Kali, voice. Justina Machado lends her talents to Kali, another key supporting character in the Valley's ecosystem. Known for One Day at a Time and Queen of the South, Machado brings depth and relatability. Her voice contributes to the diverse cast, enriching family and community interactions. Ambika Mad as Violet, voice. Ambika Mad voices Violet, Ivy's competitive younger sister. Maud, recognized from This Is Going to Hurt and other projects, captures sibling rivalry and family tensions authentically. Violet's dynamic with Ivy and Lily adds emotional layers, highlighting pseudo-parental roles and growth. Lolly Adphobe as Lily, voice. Lolly Adphobe portrays Lily, the baby sister in the Javan family. Her performance brings innocence and charm, complementing the sisters' interactions. Adphobe's comedic background adds lightness to familial scenes. Nate Torrance as Laud, voice. Nate Torrance voices Laud, contributing to the supporting ensemble with his distinctive style from shows like Studio 60 and animation work. His role adds variety to the Valley's inhabitants. Camden Brooks as young Ollie, voice. Camden Brooks handles the flashback role of young Ollie, providing a youthful counterpart that sets up the character's history and depicted incident with Ivy. Other notable voice cast members: the ensemble includes Zamo Tatasciore as Wolf Pup, David Lodge as Wolf Father, John Ratzenberger as Elder Javon, Carrie Walgren as Female Puku, Nurse Javon, Fred Tatasciore as Elder Javan II, Rock Bear, and T.A. Taviga as Grandma, Mrs. Dung Beetle. This rich supporting cast populates the vibrant world of Swapped, adding depth, humor, and peril to the adventure. Each actor's contribution builds a cohesive, star-studded voice ensemble that elevates the body swap premise. The casting mixes established dramatic talent, comedians, and voice specialists, creating chemistry that drives the buddy comedy, action, and themes of empathy and survival. Jordan and Temple anchor the leads with strong vocal chemistry, while Morgan, Cedric, and others provide memorable support. The diverse cast reflects the film's message of bridging differences, making Swapped a lively animated entry on Netflix. Further expanding on the casting choices, the production team at Skydance Animation under director Nathan Greeno aimed for voices that could convey both physical comedy and emotional truth in an animated format. Jordan's intensity translates to Ollie's determination, Temple's poise to Ivy's grace under pressure, and Morgan's unpredictability perfectly suits the Boogle, Firewolf duality. Supporting roles by Machado, Maud, Adphobe, and veterans like Ratzenberger, known for Pixar work, ground the world with familiarity and warmth. The voice performances were recorded with attention to interplay, as seen in booth footage. This collaborative approach results in natural-sounding banter and heartfelt exchanges. The casting not only serves the story's Freaky Friday-like plot but also amplifies its ecological and social messages through talented interpreters. In scenes involving the glowing pods and body swap, the actor's abilities to shift vocal persona saw Jordan embodying bird-like qualities temporarily in delivery, Temple adopting smaller creature mannerisms to add immersion. The film's PG rating for action, peril benefits from the cast's ability to balance scares with humor. Overall, the casting for Swapped, 2026, stands out for its blend of A-list talent and perfect role fits, creating an engaging audio landscape that complements the animation. Each voice actor brings unique strengths that make the characters in the valley memorable and the adventure compelling. Word count: approximately 5,000. Content developed through detailed expansion on performances, backgrounds, character arcs, and thematic ties for comprehensive coverage. Production, development and pre-production. The road to Swapped began nearly 8 years before the film ever reached Netflix subscribers. In February 2018, Skydance Media announced that it had signed director Nathan Greeno, best known at the time as the co-director of Disney's Tangled, 2010, to a multi-year contract to write and direct an original animated feature, provisionally titled Powerless, while also consulting on other projects in development at the studio. The hire was notable because Greeno had spent the preceding 16 years almost entirely inside the Walt Disney Animation Studios system, working his way up from story artist on films like Mulan, Brother Bear, and Meet the Robinsons to head of story on both before earning his co-director credit on Tangled. Leaving Disney for then-fledgling animation division at Skydance was, by his own account in later interviews, a leap into the unknown. That leap got considerably more structured in January 2019, when Skydance Animation hired John Lasseter, the ousted former chief creative officer of both Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studios, to serve as head of animation for the new division. The hire reunited Lasseter with Greeno, who had directed under Lasseter's leadership during the Tangled era at Disney, and gave Skydance Animation a leadership figure with decades of experience shepherding original animated features from pitch to release. According to Greeno's own account, given in multiple interviews around the film's release, including extended conversations with Animation World Network and Squiggly, Powerless originally had nothing to do with woodland creatures or body swapping at all. The earliest version of the project was conceived as a story about 4 human teenagers, each gifted with different superpowers, whose central thematic engine was meant to be empathy and the idea of seeing the world through someone else's eyes. Juno and his collaborators spent real development time researching empathy as a concept, repeatedly running into the metaphor of walking a mile in someone else's shoes. The trouble was that this thematic core never quite married to the surface-level premise of teenage superheroes. The metaphor kept gesturing toward a different kind of movie than the one they were actually building. Roughly 6 months into that process, Juno walked into Lasseter's office and admitted the project wasn't working. He proposed reframing it explicitly as a transformation story, one in which characters would have to physically inhabit another being's existence rather than simply learn a lesson about empathy and the abstract. Lasseter's response reportedly reshaped the entire trajectory of the film. He suggested removing human characters from the story altogether. The rationale was that movies about a human being transformed into an animal are a well-worn animation trope, and Skydance wanted to avoid retreading that ground. Instead, the team rebuilt the project from the ground up as a story about two non-human, entirely invented species who swap bodies with each other. Eliminating the human element meant every scene, character dynamic, and emotional beat had to be reconceived from a fully animal, and, in this case, animal-plant hybrid, point of view. This redesign gave rise to the film's signature creative choice. Rather than using recognizable real-world animals the audience would already understand, Juno has noted in interviews that there was internal pressure at times to simplify things like the Jungle Book. The filmmakers invented original species for the valley, the flooded, plant-animal hybrid ecosystem at the heart of the story. The hero, Ollie, belongs to a species called puku, modeled loosely on sea otters. His eventual ally and body swap partner, Ivy, is a Javon, a hybrid bird species visually inspired by the New Zealand Ka diaresis pa ring. Around them, the filmmakers built out an entire bestiary of invented creatures: tree wolves with leafy branches growing from their heads and tails, moss-covered rock bears, root snakes, and an underwater ecosystem populated by hybrid fish such as bluegill, a purple grouper-like creature with algae for fins. Crucially, none of the species in the valley share a common spoken language, a deliberate choice intended to keep the audience discovering the rules of this world at the same rate as Ollie himself, who Juno has described as living inside his own unexamined bubble for most of the story. By April 2020, the project had been retitled Puku, reflecting its narrowed focus on the otter-like species at its center. That same month brought a separate but consequential piece of corporate news. Skydance acquired the animation unit of Spain's Zillion Studios, folding it into a new combined operation that would become Skydance Animation Madrid. This gave Skydance Animation a genuine US-Europe production pipeline, with studios eventually operating out of Los Angeles, a satellite office in Connecticut, staffed in part by veteran animators following the 2021 closure of Blue Sky Studios, and the new Madrid facility. Puku Swap would ultimately become one of the clearest beneficiaries of that combined infrastructure, with Madrid and Connecticut artists collaborating closely on the film's world-building and creature design, settling on what one trade report described as a slightly caricatured visual approach to the ecosystem. The film's distribution path also shifted during this period. Puku had originally been set up at Apple TV+. That changed in October 2023, when Netflix announced a new multi-year deal with Skydance Animation, under which Netflix took over distribution rights to the in-progress film as part of a broader slate that also included the studio's musical Spellbound. At the time of that announcement, Netflix was targeting a 2025 release for the Juno film. The date would later slip to 2026. October 2023 also brought confirmation that composer Siddhartha Khosla had been brought on to score the picture, well over 2 years before the film's eventual premiere. Casting came together far later in the process, reflecting how much of the film's early development was consumed by world-building and story restructuring rather than performance work. It wasn't until November 2025 that Netflix and Skydance confirmed Michael B. Jordan and Juno Temple as the leads, voicing Ollie and Ivy respectively. Jordan's involvement carried particular weight in entertainment coverage, It marked his first work in an animated feature since voicing Cyborg in the direct-to-video Justice League, The Flashpoint Paradox back in 2013, and his first project of any kind following his Best Actor Oscar win for Sinners, 2025. 2 months later, in January 2026, Tracy Morgan and Cedric the Entertainer were revealed as additional voice cast members, playing Boogle and Ollie's father Kalu, respectively. Justina Machado, MB Kamad, and Lolly Adfolp rounded out the principal voice cast as Ollie's mother Kali and Ivy's sisters Violet and Lily. Supporting voice work came from Skydance Animation Madrid in Spain, Taviga as Ollie's grandmother, Nate Torrance as Ollie's friend Laud, Pixar mainstay John Ratzenberger as Elder Javon, and young actor Camden Brooks voicing Ollie as a child in the film's wordless opening flashback. By the time the title officially changed from Puku to Swap Day, confirmed in October 2025 by Skydance Animation Madrid's VP of Finance and Operations, Carolina Borreguero Sanz, in remarks about the studio's slate, the project had been in active development for roughly 7 years. Filming because Swapped is a fully computer-animated, 3D CG feature. The film had no conventional production phase involving cameras, physical sets, or on-set performers in the way a live-action film does. Instead, what would be called filming or principal photography on a live-action production corresponds, in animation, to the long pipeline of virtual production, storyboarding and animatics to lockdown sequencing and pacing, layout work to establish virtual camera placement and blocking, character animation built on top of digital rigs, lighting and rendering passes, and ongoing iterative refinement driven by internal screenings. Juno has spoken at length about how deliberately the production used the camera A, meaning the virtual camera inside the animation pipeline A, to tell the story in ways distinct from a more conventional animated comedy. He has described himself as a big fan of nonverbal storytelling, and that instinct shows up directly in the finished film's structure. Several reviewers noted that Swapped opens with an extended flashback sequence, roughly 10 minutes long, that unfolds essentially without dialogue, establishing Ollie and Ivy's childhood encounter purely through visual staging and performance. That kind of sustained silent sequence requires an unusual degree of confidence in layout, blocking, and character animation to land emotionally without the crutch of dialogue, and several critics singled it out as one of the film's more distinctive formal choices. The physical labor of building the film's visual world was distributed across Skydance Animation's combined production network. Work was carried out at the studio's Los Angeles headquarters, its Connecticut satellite office, and substantially at Skydance Animation Madrid. The Spanish facility formed from the 2020 acquisition of Alien Studios. Production services performed in Madrid were supported by a Spanish tax incentive for foreign productions, codified under Article 36.2 of Spain's Corporate Income Tax Law 27/2014, the same kind of incentive structure that has made Spain an increasingly active hub for large-scale animated and visual effects work in recent years. According to the studio's own account, the project was created and produced across all 3 locations, Los Angeles, Connecticut, and Madrid, with the Madrid and Connecticut teams in particularly close collaboration on creature design and ecosystem world building. That creature design process was extensive enough to merit its own making of book, The Art Making of Swapped, written by animation journalist Raymond Zate and published around the film's release. The book, drawing on interviews with Lasseter, Juno, and writers John Whittington, Christian Magal, and Robert Snow, documents the lengthy iterative design process behind the film's central characters Ollie, Ivy, and the long-vanished zoo creatures referenced in the story's mythology, showing successive rounds of sketches and design revisions before the team settled on final designs. Technically, animating the film's central body swap conceit posed its own distinct challenge. The production needed character rigs and animation approaches that could let the same underlying performance Ollie's specific physicality and mannerisms, for instance read clearly even after being transplanted into Ivy's much larger, winged Javon body, and vice versa, achieving that cross-species legibility, while still keeping each species' design and movement grounded in its own internal logic. was a recurring theme in the film's behind-the-scenes press coverage. Throughout this stage of production, the filmmakers relied heavily on internal test screenings to gauge whether the story and character work were landing, with Juno describing a process of continual refinement based on outside feedback, a standard practice in long-gestating animated productions, but one made more pronounced here given how thoroughly the underlying concept had already been overhauled once during early development. Post-production Tim Mertens, an editor whose credits include Disney's Wreck-It Ralph, 2012, was confirmed as the film's editor in January 2026. Just months ahead of release, one of the later major crew announcements tied to the project, and a sign of how much of the film's runtime had likely already been locked through earlier rounds of story reels and test screenings by that point. Marketing and visual rollout doubled as a kind of informal post-production timeline for the public. The first rendered image from the film was unveiled in June 2024 as part of Netflix's Next on Netflix Animation 2024 presentation, a full 2 years before the eventual release date, an unusually early first look, reflecting how long the project had already been gestating by that point. A second rendered image followed roughly a year later, in June 2025, when Netflix presented updated art from the film, still then known as Puku, at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival, alongside the announcement that the film's premiere had been pushed from a possible 2025 date into 2026. Additional images arrived in March 2026 alongside the formal announcement of the May 1st release date, and the first official trailer dropped in early April 2026, introduced on social media by Jordan alongside members of his family. Ahead of its wide premiere, Swapped received an early test preview screening at the Sebastiani Theater in Sonoma, California, on January 9, 2026, a venue with long-standing ties to the Sonoma International Film Festival and, by extension, to Lasseter, who has deep personal and professional roots in the Sonoma area. That screening served as a final checkpoint ahead of the film's limited theatrical run and Netflix premiere months later. Ratings bodies weighed in during this same window. The American Motion Picture Association assigned the film a PG rating, citing action, peril and some scary images, reflected in CARA, MPA ratings bulletins from October 2025. In the United Kingdom, the British Board of Film Classification followed suit with its own PG rating on April 7, 2026, just weeks before release. Music Siddhartha Khosla, an Emmy-winning composer best known for his work on television series such as This Is Us, Only Murders in the Building, and Paradise Say, as well as scores for The Idea of You, Imperfect Women, Rabbit Hole, Looking for Alaska, and Welcome to Chippendales, was confirmed as the composer for Swapped in October 2023, more than 2.5 years ahead of release. That early hiring date suggests the score was developed in close coordination with the film's storytelling rather than bolted on late in the process, which tracks with how heavily the finished film leans on visual and musical storytelling during its wordless opening sequence. Unlike Skydance Animation's prior Netflix release, the Alan Menken-scored musical Spellbound, Swapped is not a musical and does not feature original songs in the traditional sense. Instead, Khosla's contribution is a continuous orchestral and textural score built to track the film's emotional and adventure beats. The official soundtrack album, titled Swapped, soundtrack from the Netflix film by Skydance Animation, was released digitally by Netflix Music on May 1, 2026, the same day as the film itself, across major streaming and download platforms including Spotify and Apple Music. The album runs 39 tracks across roughly 1 hour and 21 minutes, with cues bearing titles such as Opening, We're Flying, Puku Harvest Theme, Building a Snorkel, Ollie's Theme, The Fable, Ollie and Ivy, What Have You Done? Fly Over, Baby Firewolf, She's Gone, and Epilogue, titles that broadly track the film's major emotional and narrative turns, from Allie's early curiosity about the wider valley through the eventual reveal and fallout involving the story's Firewolf villain. Released theatrical Swapped received what is commonly described as a limited theatrical release, opening in select theaters on May 1, 2026, the same day it premiered on Netflix. A day-and-date strategy rather than a traditional theatrical window, followed later by streaming availability. Listings from theater chains such as Linda Los Angeles area confirmed the film's limited big screen availability around its Netflix debut. This approach reflects a broader, still evolving pattern in Netflix's handling of its original animated and family films. Rather than pursuing a wide, exclusive theatrical run, the company has periodically paired theatrical bookings with day-and-date or near-simultaneous streaming premieres for select titles, building on earlier limited-release precedents such as Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, 2022, and May-December, 2023. The path to that release date had already been adjusted more than once. When Netflix first announced it had taken over the film's distribution from Apple TV Plus in October 2023, the studio was targeting a 2025 release. By June 2025, Netflix had pushed that timeline back to 2026. A delay confirmed publicly alongside the film's second first-look art reveal at the Annecy Festival that same month. The eventual May 1, 2026 date was not locked in and publicized until March 2026, alongside a fresh batch of promotional images. Ahead of that public release, the film had already screened once, in a more limited and industry-facing capacity, at the Sebastiani Theatre in Sonoma on January 9, 2026, a preview engagement that predated the wider limited theatrical bookings by nearly 4 months. Home media. As of the period following its release, Swapped has not received a traditional home media release on physical formats such as DVD or Blu-ray. This is consistent with Netflix's general distribution pattern for its original animated features, which the company typically keeps exclusive to its streaming platform rather than releasing through conventional retail home video channels. Following its brief limited theatrical engagement, the film's availability has remained centered on Netflix's streaming service, where it continues to be accessible to subscribers as part of the platform's animated film library. The clearest ancillary commercial release tied to the film has been musical rather than physical. The official soundtrack album, released digitally through Netflix Music on the same day as the film's premiere, remains available for streaming and digital purchase through services such as Spotify and Apple Music, functioning as the primary standalone consumer product connected to the film outside of the streaming platform itself. Reception. Box office. Because Swap was distributed primarily as a Netflix streaming original with only a limited, day-and-date theatrical component rather than a wide commercial theatrical release, it was not tracked in the way major studio releases are by domestic and international box office reporting services, and it did not register on weekly theatrical box office charts in the United States or other major markets. As with most Netflix originals released under this kind of limited theatrical model, detailed box office gross figures were not made publicly available by the distributor or widely reported by trade outlets. Instead, the film's commercial performance has been measured almost entirely through Netflix's self-reported streaming viewership data, which the company released at several points after the May 1, 2026 launch. Over its 3-day opening weekend, Netflix reported that Swap drew approximately 15.5 million views, translating to roughly 26 million hours watched, placing it at the number 2 spot on the streamer's weekly global English-language film chart and giving it a presence in the daily top 10 in more than 90 countries. Trade coverage described this as the best 3-day opening for a Netflix animated film since Leo in 2023, though that comparison came with the caveat that Leo had originally debuted on a Tuesday rather than a Friday, complicating a direct like-for-like comparison. The film's performance accelerated rather than faded in its second week. For the viewing window of May 4-10, 2026, Netflix reported that Swap reached 38.7 million views, a figure trade press characterized as a new single-week viewership record for any animated original on the platform, surpassing the previous record held by the Sea Beast, 34.9 million views in a week, and exceeding the opening week totals previously posted by both Leo, 34.6 million views, and Pop, Demon Hunters, 30.1 million views, reached in its 11th week on the platform. By roughly 3 weeks after release, Cumulative viewership was reported at approximately 80.6 million views, a tally some outlets noted had outpaced Pop Demon Hunter's viewership over a comparable early window, a notable point of comparison given how dominant that earlier film had been in Netflix's animated rankings. Trade analysis later folded SWAP into broader discussions of Netflix's 2026 slate, describing it as one of the streamer's biggest original movies of the year across all genres and noting it became one of the fastest Netflix animated features to cross the 100 million view threshold. That commercial success also fed into wider industry conversation. Pieces in outlets like The Wrap used SWAP's streaming performance as a case study in examining Netflix's continued reluctance to pursue larger theatrical exhibition strategies for its animated slate. Even when a film clearly resonates with audiences, critical response SWAP arrived to a critical reception that settled, over time, into a genuinely mixed picture, one in which trade and outlet reviews diverged fairly sharply from general audience response. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film's approval rating started narrower on its first day of reviews, sitting at roughly 60% based on an initial batch of 10 critics, before settling at 68% approval across 47 critics' reviews, with an average rating of 5.8 out of 10, a score generally interpreted in trade coverage as reflecting a divisive or split critical response rather than a clear consensus in either direction. Metacritic's weighted scoring system told a similar story, assigning the film 56 out of 100 based on 11 critics, a score Metacritic itself classifies as mixed or average. Audience response, by contrast, ran noticeably warmer. Rotten Tomatoes' audience score sat in the high 80% range in the weeks following release, reported variously as 89% shortly after launch and around 87% in later coverage, giving the film one of the wider critic versus audience gaps among Netflix's 2026 animated releases. Much of the critical conversation around SWAP was shaped by its proximity to Pixar's Hoppers, a similarly themed animal body SWAP film that had been released in theaters roughly 2 months earlier in 2026 and had performed considerably better with critics, carrying a 94% critics score and a 93% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Several reviewers explicitly framed SWAP against that earlier release, generally concluding that the Skydance film came up short by comparison even as most still found it a serviceable family entertainment. The Guardian's review, written by Benjamin Lee, was among the more pointed pans, awarding the film 2 stars. Lee criticized what he described as the off-brand, bought-down-the-market quality of Skydance animation relative to bigger studios, and summarized the film as a fairly rote buddy comedy quest narrative. Other major outlets landed in more measured, middle territory. Variety's review praised the easy chemistry between Michael B. Jordan and Juno Temple as Ollie and Ivy, and singled out the film's psychedelic visual design, particularly its hybrid creatures and vividly colored Javon plumage as a genuine highlight, while still characterizing the underlying story as simple to a fault. The Hollywood Reporter framed the film as a minor but visually impressive charmer, noting it represented a real step up in animation quality for Skydance, and pointing out that the film marked Jordan's first on-screen, or in this case, on-voice, work since his Best Actor Oscar win for Sinners. Collider's review was comparatively warmer, highlighting the film's restrained use of exposition, its unusually long wordless opening flashback, and the way its premise doubles as an entry point for parents and children to discuss themes of resource scarcity and coexistence, even while acknowledging the narrative itself rarely strays from predictable beats. RogerEbert.com's review likewise responded positively to the chemistry between Jordan and Temple and to the film's central message about empathy and perspective-taking. A handful of reviews were considerably less forgiving. IndieWire's review took a skeptical, mocking tone toward both the film's familiar body swap mechanics and the choice of project as Jordan's first post-Oscar role, characterizing it as squarely aimed at very young audiences. A review from In Between Drafts argued the screenplay was largely hollow, with characters often talking through entire scenes without advancing meaningful content, while crediting some of the film's nature-focused background animation. Its rendering of moss and foliage is a genuine highlight undercut by less interesting character design. In Session Films review struck a similar balance, praising the vibrant, creative animation as a real achievement for a studio it described as having previously struggled with visual quality, and singling out Tracy Morgan's comic relief and Temple's warmth as performance highlights, while criticizing the film's lack of originality, particularly around its firewolf villain reveal, which the review felt lacked the nuance needed to land as a genuine surprise. Taken together, the range of reviews converged on a few recurring points even amid disagreement about the film's overall quality. Critics were broadly aligned in praising the ambition and visual execution of the Valley's invented ecosystem, its hybrid plant-animal creature designs, its color and texture work, and its overall world-building as a meaningful step forward for Skydance Animation's house visual style. There was similarly broad, if more qualified, praise for the voice cast, with Jordan and Temple's central chemistry and the comic contributions of Tracy Morgan and Cedric the Entertainer drawing positive notice even from reviews that were otherwise lukewarm. Where critics split most sharply was on the screenplay itself. Some saw the empathy-driven, body swap framework as a thoughtful, well-earned payoff to the project's long and admittedly difficult development process, while others saw a familiar buddy comedy structure whose late villain twist and resolution didn't do enough to distinguish it from other films built around the same basic premise. That same tension, a strong visual execution paired with a more conventional narrative engine, also helps explain the unusually wide gaps between the film's middling critical aggregate scores and its considerably warmer reception among general audiences. Swapped is a fun animated fantasy adventure movie released in 2026. The film was made by Skydance Animation and combines comedy, adventure, magic, and emotional moments into one exciting story. The movie follows two very different characters named Ollie and Ivy. Although they come from completely different worlds, a magical accident brings them together in a way neither of them could ever imagine. At the beginning of the story, we meet Ollie, a small and cheerful creature known as a puku. Ollie enjoys his simple life and is always curious about the world around him. He is energetic, playful, and sometimes gets himself into trouble because of his curiosity. Despite his mistakes, he has a kind heart and always tries to help others. Ollie dreams of exploring new places and discovering things that most pukus have never seen before. The story also introduces Ivy, a Javan who lives a very different life. Ivy is smart, confident, and responsible. She likes having a plan for everything and prefers to think carefully before making decisions. Unlike Ollie, she does not rush into situations without understanding the consequences. Ivy believes in hard work and discipline, which often makes her seem serious compared to Ollie's carefree personality. One day, fate brings Ollie and Ivy together. During a strange magical event, something goes terribly wrong. A powerful force accidentally causes the two characters to switch species. In a matter of moments, Ollie finds himself living in Ivy's body, while Ivy suddenly becomes trapped in Ollie's body. Both are shocked, confused, and frightened by what has happened. At first, neither of them knows how to react. Ollie struggles to understand how to live as a Javan. Everything feels different, from the way he moves to the way others expect him to behave. He quickly realizes that Ivy's life is much more complicated than he imagined. People expect responsibility, maturity, and leadership from Ivy, and Ollie finds it difficult to meet those expectations. Meanwhile, Ivy faces her own challenges in Ollie's body. She suddenly finds herself much smaller and weaker than before. Tasks that once seemed easy become difficult. She has to learn how to survive in a completely different environment while dealing with the playful and unpredictable nature of puku life. Ivy begins to understand that Ollie's world is not as simple as she once believed. Because of the magical transformation, both characters become frustrated with each other. They blame one another for the accident and argue frequently. Ollie thinks Ivy is too serious, while Ivy believes Ollie is irresponsible. Their differences create many funny moments throughout the movie. The audience gets to watch them struggle with everyday situations while pretending to be each other. As time passes, However, they begin to understand each other's lives. Ollie starts appreciating the pressure Ivy faces every day. He realizes that being responsible for others is not easy. At the same time, Ivy discovers that Ollie's cheerful attitude helps him overcome challenges and bring happiness to those around him. Soon, they learn that the magical accident cannot be reversed easily. If they want to return to their original forms, they must go on a dangerous journey. This quest becomes the heart of the movie. Together, Ollie and Ivy leave their homes and travel through mysterious lands filled with magical creatures, hidden secrets, and unexpected dangers. Along the way, they encounter many interesting characters. Some become loyal friends who help them on their journey. Others create obstacles that make their mission more difficult. Every new location introduces fresh challenges and exciting adventures. One of the most entertaining parts of the movie is watching Ollie and Ivy work together despite their differences. Since each character understands something the other does not, they must combine their strengths to succeed. Ollie's creativity and optimism often help the group find solutions when situations seem hopeless. Ivy's intelligence and planning skills help them avoid mistakes and stay focused on their goal. The movie includes many action-packed scenes that keep viewers engaged. There are thrilling chases, magical battles, and dangerous encounters with creatures that test the hero's courage. However, the film never forgets its comedic side. Funny misunderstandings, clever jokes, and humorous situations appear throughout the story, making it enjoyable for audiences of all ages. As the adventure continues, Ollie and Ivy grow closer. What begins as a difficult partnership slowly turns into a genuine friendship. They learn to trust each other and recognize the value of their unique abilities. This emotional development becomes one of the strongest parts of the story. The film also explores important themes about empathy and understanding. Through their unusual experience, Ollie and Ivy learn what it is like to walk in someone else's shoes. They discover that judging people without understanding their struggles can lead to misunderstandings. By living each other's lives, they gain a deeper appreciation for one another. The animation in Swapped is colorful, detailed, and visually impressive. Every environment feels alive and filled with imagination. The filmmakers created a magical world full of vibrant landscapes, fascinating creatures, and beautiful visual effects. The animation helps bring the fantasy elements of the story to life and creates a memorable viewing experience. The voice acting is another highlight of the movie. Michael B. Jordan gives Ollie a warm and energetic personality that makes the character instantly likable. Juno Temple brings intelligence, determination, and emotional depth to Ivy. Their performances help make the relationships between the two characters believable and engaging. The supporting cast also contributes strong performances that add humor and charm to the film. The movie's soundtrack enhances many of the emotional and exciting moments. Whether the characters are facing danger, celebrating victories, or reflecting on their journey, the music helps create the right atmosphere. The score adds energy to action scenes and emotion to quieter moments. As the story approaches its climax, Ollie and Ivy finally discover the source of the magical accident. They learn that reversing the transformation will require courage, teamwork, and sacrifice. The final part of the movie delivers suspense, excitement, and emotional moments as the heroes confront their greatest challenge. Without revealing every detail of the ending, the conclusion provides satisfying character growth and meaningful lessons. Ollie and Ivy emerge from their adventure as stronger individuals who understand themselves and each other much better than before. Their journey changes them forever and teaches them valuable lessons about friendship, responsibility, and acceptance. When Swapped was released on Netflix and in select theaters on May 1, 2026, it quickly attracted attention from audiences around the world. Many viewers praised its creative concept, colorful animation, and entertaining story. The body-switching premise felt fresh and allowed the filmmakers to explore both comedy and emotional storytelling. Critics gave the movie mixed to positive reviews. Some praised the animation quality, voice performances, and family-friendly humor. Others felt certain story elements were familiar because body swap stories have been used in many films before. Even so, most reviewers agreed that the movie offered enough charm and heart to make it enjoyable. One of the biggest achievements of Swapped was its success on Netflix. During its first week, the film reportedly reached around 38 million views. This impressive number demonstrated the movie's popularity and helped it become one of the platform's most talked about releases. The film even replaced Pop Demon Hunters at the top of Netflix's viewing charts. A major reason for the movie's popularity was its appeal to a wide audience. Children enjoyed the colorful animation, funny characters, and magical adventures. Teenagers appreciated the exciting action and emotional themes. Adults connected with the lessons about empathy, understanding, and personal growth. Because of this broad appeal, the movie became a family favorite. Another strength of Swapped is its positive message. The story encourages viewers to understand other people's perspectives before judging them. It reminds audiences that everyone faces challenges that may not be visible from the outside. Through Ollie and Ivy's experiences, the film promotes kindness, cooperation, and respect for differences. The friendships between the main characters is at the center of everything. Their relationship evolves naturally throughout the story. At first, they dislike and misunderstand each other. Later, they become partners, friends, and supporters. Watching this transformation is one of the most rewarding aspects of the movie. The fantasy world created for Swapped feels rich and imaginative. The filmmakers clearly invested significant effort into designing unique creatures, magical environments, and exciting locations. Every part of the world contributes to the sense of adventure and discovery that drives the story forward. Overall, Swapped is an entertaining animated fantasy adventure that combines humor, action, heart, and valuable life lessons. Its memorable characters, beautiful animation, strong voice performances, and positive themes make it an enjoyable experience for viewers of all ages. While some aspects of the story may feel familiar, the film succeeds because of its charm, creativity, and emotional depth. For movie fans looking for a fun family adventure with plenty of laughs and meaningful messages, Swapped delivers an enjoyable journey from beginning to end. Through the adventures of Ollie and Ivy, the film shows that understanding others can change lives, build friendships, and make the world a better place. That message, combined with exciting storytelling and colorful animation, helps make Swapped one of the notable animated releases of 2026. Michael B. Jordan voiced the character of Ollie, alongside Juno Temple voicing the Flying Ivy, with the film set to arrive on Netflix soon. After winning the Academy Award for Best Actor in recognition of his role in Sinners, actor Michael B. Jordan is back with the Netflix animated film, titled Swapped. The animated buddy comedy adventure follows two jungle creatures who start as enemies but soon help each other in overcoming the odds. Jordan voices the small woodland creature of Ollie, whereas Juno Temple, of Ted Lasso fame, has voiced the character of Ivy, a soaring bird who always has her eyes set on Ollie, until one surprising day when they magically swap bodies. In addition to releasing the trailer for the upcoming animated movie, Netflix also packed an adorable surprise for the world. In the clip, which has since been making rounds, Jordan's nephew and niece appear before the trailer begins. Jordan then introduces the trailer and animated movie, with a cute rejoinder from his niece and nephew. The introduction effectively set the tone of Swapped as a children's movie to look forward to. Nathan Greeno, of Tangled fame, has directed Swapped, a joint production between Skydance Animation and Netflix. The film is based on a story written by Adam Karp, Christian Magalhaes, Robert Snow, Nathan Greeno, and John Whittington. The screenplay was penned by Whittington, Snow, and Christian Magalhaes. The voice cast also includes Tracy Morgan and Cedric the Entertainer. Swapped is produced by David Ellison, Dana Goldberg, Mary Ellen Bowder-Andrews, and John Lasseter. The official synopsis of the upcoming animated movie reads, a buddy comedy about the small woodland creature, voiced by Michael B. Jordan, and a majestic bird, voiced by Juno Temple, a natural sworn enemies of the Valia who suddenly swap bodies and must team up, while walking in each other's feathers and fur, to survive the wildest adventure of their lives. The trailer kicks off with the usual camaraderie between Ollie and Ivy, as the latter tries to make a meal out of the former day in and day out, until one day, a daring attempt to scoop up Ollie goes south for Ivy, and the two of them tumble down to fall into a strange purple flower pod. As a direct consequence, Ollie and Ivy end up swapping bodies, along with exchanging the powers and the pitfalls that come with them. Once they get the hang of their respective bodies, they are called upon by the other creatures of the jungle to rise to the occasion. In light of the resounding success of another of Netflix's recently released animated movies, that is, Pop Demon Hunters, it is easy to compare Swapped with the box office juggernaut. Although it might not find the same massive audience as the former, Swapped is nevertheless an entertaining watch and arrives on Netflix on May 1st. Little opens with obligatory narration. Allow me to introduce myself. But there is nobody going to see Little who won't realize immediately where it's headed. A successful, but empty, adult, Regina Hall, gets magically transformed back into her middle school self, Marcy Martin, and must return to her post-pubescent life while learning an important lesson or two on the way. These kinds of films write themselves. Director Tina Gordon, who helped write this year's movie, What Men Want, doesn't find much room for invention here. Though it's a broad comedy, Little also inverts the formula of the most famous of these body swap movies. A big A- minus some of the skeevier scenes and with more Fortnite dances. Little is not a movie that will age well. Compared to every other body swap picture from 17 Again to Freaky Friday, A Little is only refreshing because of the talent involved. Headlining the film are some of the funniest African American women in the business, all mostly squandered here thanks to an inadequate script that lacks jokes. Hall, who was fantastic in the movie Support the Girls, doesn't get much to do in Little. Her character, tech company CEO Jordan Sanders, the Scrooge of this story, mostly struts and shouts and commands the kind of fear among her employees that Meryl Streep does in The Devil Wears Prada. Jordan enters the office, and birthday celebrations disperse. The donuts are hidden and everyone tries to look as joyless as possible. Most joyless of all is April Williams, Issa Rae, Jordan's oft-harangued assistant. April starts her day with audio meditation sessions called So You Want to Slap Your Boss, and when Jordan magically de-ages into a pint-sized girl, April is the poor soul who has to help her. The best line, spoiled by the trailer, is when Jordan tells April she's trapped in her younger body. But that's for white people, Jordan says, cause black people don't have the time. It's the only time the film acknowledges big and centers the body swap experience on Jordan's blackness, an approach that ultimately gets lost in the plot. The trailer gives away most of the good lines. As for the rest of the film, few things are worse than seeing talented actors slinging unfunny jokes. Everyone makes the most of it, though especially Blackish Alan Martin, who channels Hall perfectly as a younger Jordan. She's got the strut and exacting glares down pat. Streaming audiences are embracing the unlikely animal duo at the heart of Swapped, launching the animated family comedy feature to the #1 spot on Netflix's English film list with 38.7 million views this week, May 4th to 10th. Produced by Skydance Animation, Luck, Spellbound, and directed by Nathan Greeno, Tangled. The original story debuted on May 1st and scored the biggest three-day opening for a Netflix animated feature since Leo, 2023, with 15.5 million views. In the 3D CG adventure, Academy Award winner Michael B. Jordan voices Ollie, a puku, a chipmunk-like creature, whose species keeps away from the bird-like Javans as they compete for food. When Ollie has a literal run-in with a Javan named Ivy, voiced by Juno Temple, he touches a magical pod and winds up in a Javan body, with Ivy repeating the mishap to become a puku. They will have to work together to reverse the body swap and unite their communities. Meanwhile, Netflix's most-watched movie ever, Pop Demon Hunters, continues its astonishing run in the top 10, pulling in another 3.6 million views to come in again at number 5 in its 47th week of streaming. Maggie Kang and Chris Applehead's music, mythology and Korean culture-driven animated hit, produced by Sony Pictures Animation, the Pixlate Awards season, picking up dual Oscars, Golden Globes and Critics' Choice Awards for Best Animated Feature and Original Song, as well as sweeping the Annie Awards. A sequel is in the works. Have you had the opportunity to check out the new Netflix animated film from Skydance Animation, Swapped, which is currently ranking in the Netflix top 10? My husband and I watched it this past weekend and I'm so glad that I did. Swapped on Netflix follows two natural enemies who accidentally swap bodies. It's not a new idea. think Freaky Friday, but there is so much more to the story. Ollie, voiced by Michael B. Jordan, is a small otter-like woodland creature called a puku. He's filled with curiosity, which sometimes leads to trouble. Ivy, voiced by Juno Temple, is bird-like creature known as a Javan. In their fantasy world, pukus and Javans are enemies. When Ollie and Ivy accidentally touch a magical, glowing plant pod created by the ancient Zo, a massive, tree-like creature that resembles an elephant, they swap bodies. To reverse the spell, the duo must find another pod. This is easier said than done, as dangerous creatures like the tree wolves with trees growing from their heads, are hunting them down. Along the way, the duo meets other interesting creatures that call the valley home. Interestingly, the swap gives them the ability to communicate with all species, something they couldn't do before. This is a fantasy film filled with unique hybrid creatures. To be honest, I almost didn't watch the movie because I thought the character designs looked a little too unusual. I am so glad I took a chance on it. Greater than first and foremost, the film is visually stunning. The landscapes are gorgeous, and the animation details are mind-blowing. The valley almost felt like a real place. As much as I love the animation, the swapped storyline is what stands out most. It isn't just a silly comedy, it explores how mutual hatred is often based on generations of misunderstanding. This film teaches the following: empathy and understanding others, how prejudice is often learned from ancestors, the power of effective communication, embracing your own strengths and vulnerabilities, why collaboration works better than competition, the importance of protecting our natural world. I cannot praise this film enough. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend adding it to your Netflix queue. Please note, I wasn't asked to review this film. This is 100% my own opinion. If your family loved the movie, Simon Schuster has released a wonderful swapped board book called Ollie's Big Adventure. It is a condensed version of the film featuring the same beautiful illustrations and storyline. It's not a different story. The book is written by Maggie Testa. It's 14 pages long and is geared towards children with the reading age of 2 to 5 years old. However, kids of all ages can appreciate this book, especially if they are a fan of the movie. Whether you want to get your family excited before seeing the film or want to keep the life lessons alive after the credits roll, this book is a perfect companion. The book is currently available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's published by Simon Schuster. To check out other new book releases, visit simonandschuster.com. Be sure to follow them on social media too. Kimberly, I received a free copy of this book in order to do this review. There was no compensation. The opinions expressed are my own and not influenced in any way. Swap is a 2026 animated fantasy adventure comedy that tells the story of two very different characters whose lives change forever after a magical accident. The movie combines humor, adventure, friendship, and important life lessons into a colorful animated journey. Produced by Skydance Animation, the film follows Ollie and Ivy as they are forced to experience life from completely different perspectives. Through exciting adventures, emotional moments, and plenty of comedy, the movie delivers a story that is both entertaining and meaningful for audiences of all ages. The story begins in a magical world filled with unique creatures, beautiful landscapes, and mysterious powers. In this world lives Ollie, a small creature known as a puku. Ollie is energetic, cheerful, and always curious about everything around him. He enjoys exploring new places and often finds himself in unusual situations because of his adventurous nature. Although he sometimes acts before thinking, Ollie has a kind heart and genuinely wants to help others. His positive attitude allows him to stay hopeful even when things go wrong. Unlike Ollie, Ivy lives a much more organized life. Ivy is a Javan who values responsibility, planning, and discipline. She believes that success comes from careful preparation and hard work. While she is intelligent and capable, she often struggles to relax and enjoy the simple things in life. Ivy prefers having control over situations and does not like taking unnecessary risks. Because of their completely different personalities, Ollie and Ivy seem like the last two individuals who would ever become friends. Their lives unexpectedly collide during a strange magical event. While both are going about their daily routines, a powerful magical force causes an accident that changes everything. In a matter of moments, Ollie and Ivy switch species. Suddenly, Ollie finds himself trapped in Ivy's body, while Ivy wakes up in Ollie's body. Neither of them understands what has happened or how to fix it. At first, both characters react with shock and confusion. Ollie struggles to understand the responsibilities that come with Ivy's life. Everything feels unfamiliar, from the way people treat him to the expectations placed upon him. He quickly realizes that Ivy's daily life is much more demanding than he ever imagined. Tasks that seemed simple when viewed from the outside become much harder when he has to perform them himself. Meanwhile, Ivy faces challenges of her own. Living as a small puka was nothing like being a Javon. She finds herself in situations where physical strength, size, and status could no longer help her. Everyday activities become difficult, and she has to adapt to a lifestyle she never understood before. Ivy initially becomes frustrated because she cannot control everything the way she used to. As they try to adjust to their new realities, both characters blame each other for the accident. Their arguments create many humorous moments throughout the movie. Ollie's playful personality clashes with Ivy's serious attitude, leading to misunderstandings and funny situations. The audience watches as they struggle to imitate one another while trying to hide the truth from those around them. The comedy in Swapped comes largely from these role reversals. Ollie attempts to handle Ivy's responsibilities but often creates chaos because he lacks her experience and discipline. Ivy, on the other hand, finds herself dealing with the unpredictable nature of Ollie's world. Watching the two characters navigate unfamiliar situations provides many entertaining scenes that appeal to both children and adults. However, the story is not just about comedy. As Ollie and Ivy spend more time in each other's lives, they begin to understand one another. Ollie learns that Ivy's serious attitude comes from the pressure she faces every day. He realizes that responsibility is not easy and that people often expect more from Ivy than they can see. For the first time, he understands why she behaves the way she does. At the same time, Ivy discovers that Ollie's cheerful outlook is not a sign of immaturity. She learns that optimism can be a powerful strength. Despite facing challenges, Ollie never gives up hope and always tries to see the positive side of situations. Ivy begins to appreciate his ability to bring joy to others and recognize opportunities where she once saw only problems. Eventually, they learn that the magical transformation cannot simply be reversed. If they want to return to their original forms, they must embark on a dangerous journey to find the source of the magic that caused the accident. This mission becomes the central focus of the movie and sets the stage for a thrilling adventure. The journey takes Ollie and Ivy across a variety of magical locations. They travel through enchanted forests, mysterious mountains, hidden villages, and ancient ruins. Each location introduces new challenges and expands the world of the film. The environments are filled with colorful details and imaginative designs that showcase the creativity of the animation team. Along the way, the pair encounter many unusual creatures and characters. Some become allies who assist them during their quest, while others create obstacles that make their mission more difficult. Every encounter teaches the characters something new and helps them grow as individuals. One of the most important aspects of the adventure is the way Ollie and Ivy learn to work together. Early in the story, they struggle because they focus on their differences. As the journey continues, they begin recognizing each other's strengths. Ollie's creativity often helps solve problems that seem impossible. His willingness to take chances allows the group to move forward when fear might otherwise stop them. Ivy contributes through her intelligence and careful planning. She helps the team avoid unnecessary risks and keeps everyone focused on their objective. Together, they form a balanced partnership that becomes stronger with every challenge they overcome. The action sequences in Swapped add excitement to the story. The characters face dangerous creatures, escape from threatening situations, and overcome magical obstacles. These scenes are designed to be thrilling without becoming too intense for younger viewers. The balance between action and comedy helps maintain a fun atmosphere throughout the movie. Another strength of the film is its emotional depth. Beneath the adventure and humor lies a story about empathy and understanding. The experience of living in someone else's body forces Ollie and Ivy to see the world from a different perspective. They learn that assumptions can be misleading and that everyone faces struggles that are not always visible. This message is presented in a way that feels natural rather than forced. Instead of delivering lessons through speeches, the movie allows the characters to learn through experience. As a result, the audience learns alongside them. The film encourages viewers to be more understanding and compassionate toward others. The animation plays a major role in bringing the story to life. Every scene is filled with bright colors, detailed backgrounds, and expressive character designs. The magical world feels vibrant and alive. The visual effects used for spells, transformations, and fantasy creatures help create a sense of wonder that enhances the adventure. The voice cast also contributes significantly to the movie's success. Michael B. Jordan brings energy and charm to Ollie, making him an instantly likable character. Juno Temple provides Ivy with intelligence, determination, and emotional depth. Their performances help establish a believable relationships between the two main characters. Supporting actors such as Tracy Morgan, Cedric the Entertainer, and Justina Machado add additional humor and personality to the story. Their characters provide memorable moments that enrich the overall experience. Together, the cast creates a lively and engaging world that keeps audiences invested from beginning to end. Music is another important element of Swapped. The soundtrack enhances both the emotional and action-packed moments of the film. During scenes of danger, the music increases tension and excitement. During emotional moments, it helps communicate the characters' feelings and strengthens the impact of key scenes. As the adventure progresses, Ollie and Ivy finally uncover the truth behind the magical accident. They learn that reversing the transformation will require courage, teamwork, and sacrifice. The final act of the movie brings together everything the characters have learned during their journey. The climax features exciting action, emotional revelations, and important character decisions. Ollie and Ivy must rely completely on one another if they hope to succeed. Their friendship, which began through conflict and misunderstanding, becomes their greatest strength. Without revealing every detail of the ending, the conclusion provides a satisfying resolution. The characters emerge from their adventure as stronger and wiser individuals. They gain a deeper understanding of themselves and each other. Most importantly, they learn that true friendship is built on trust, respect, and understanding. When Swapped was released on May 1, 2026, both in select theaters and on Netflix, it quickly attracted attention from viewers around the world. Audiences responded positively to its colorful animation, entertaining story, and meaningful themes. Families appreciated the film's ability to provide fun entertainment while also delivering valuable life lessons. Critics gave the movie mixed to positive reviews. Many praised the animation quality, voice performances, and positive messages. Some felt the body swap concept had been used before in other films, but most agreed that Swapped brought enough creativity and charm to make the story enjoyable. One of the movie's biggest achievements was its success on Netflix. During its first week, it reportedly reached around 38 million views. This impressive performance helped it become one of the platform's most successful animated releases of the year. The film quickly climbed the viewing charts and attracted widespread attention. Many viewers connected with the movie because of its universal themes. Almost everyone has experienced misunderstandings or judged someone without fully knowing their situation. By showing what happens when two people literally experience each other's lives, Swapped reminds audiences of the importance of empathy and open-mindedness. The friendships between Ollie and Ivy remains the heart of the story. Their growth from rivals to trusted friends gives the movie emotional weight and makes the adventure more meaningful. Watching them learn from each other is one of the most rewarding aspects of the film. Overall, Swapped is an enjoyable animated adventure that successfully combines comedy, fantasy, action, and heartfelt storytelling. Its colorful world, memorable characters, strong voice acting, and positive messages make it a film that can be enjoyed by viewers of all ages. Whether audiences are looking for laughs, excitement, or meaningful lessons, The movie offers something for everyone. The film ultimately shows that understanding another person's perspective can change the way we see the world. Through Ollie and Ivy's incredible journey, viewers are reminded that differences do not have to divide people. Instead, they can become opportunities for growth, friendship, and deeper understanding. That powerful message, combined with entertaining storytelling and beautiful animation, makes Swapped one of the standout animated films of 2026.